And I think welcome in. The technology is still new to me. To the first edition, I guess you would say, of a Real Spiel post-game show, Louisville. No, it's not Roman. If you've seen this on his Twitter account and you're thinking you're going to see him, you've got Trevor Kelsey flying solo tonight, not with the usual cohorts in crime. They are out and about doing other stuff. Hopefully I would have this link to my account for all the 1,000 people that just happen to follow me, half of them being porn bots anyway, would see it, but we'll work on that down the road. Some kinks to work out, as that would be the theme, I think, of today's post game when you watch the Louisville get a win tonight. Again, just me, solo, but as an only child, my mom once told me that I am just plenty, and hopefully my audio sounds okay. But speaking of the Southern twang call of just plenty, it's kind of like the theme of what Louisville's game was tonight. Louisville with doing just plenty, enough at least, to get a victory over James Madison. 28-14, didn't cover. He had that 0.5 point. And what was a disappointing victory, if there is one, yet one of those kind of games where maybe you look back and you think, okay, I'm kind of like, the equivalent of like a car wreck in life. I mean, you're kind of like, once it's over, you're just kind of happy you survived possibly. But unfortunately, like, in real life, there's still more problems to be solved once you even walked away from this wreck. You still got to pay your mortgage. Jenny still has braces, and Timmy's in rehab for smoking crack. And, Louisville, thankful to get a victory tonight, I'm sure. But as you listen to Jeff Brom's post game before I went on live, it ended about 5 or 10 minutes ago. Just kind of had to, and even when you listen to him in the, if you were not at the game and watching on TV as I was, and you saw anytime after the game and during going into the fourth quarter, did obviously Jeff Brom look like a guy just happy to kind of walk away with a win as well. And you can't say I blame him. So I just now learned how to turn the chat on, by the way. I'm just saying that. So Phil, thank you for that. I'll look at that in a second. Distracted me. This is why I always used to be a producer, and I never did actually on air. I couldn't read and do talk and same thing. Not multi-talented. Back to what I was saying with Louisville, but please send in the chats if you do have on there. I will get to reading them here in a second. Look, Louisville's walking away, thankful, happy. They got a win, and I guess in hindsight, or in short term at least, that's okay. But point blank, I mean, it's hard not to be more negative than positive in a victory over James Madison. I understand. Listen, if you listen to us on this show here on Monday nights, or you listen to any other talking head locally, probably on radio or anyone nationally, I tell you, James Madison was a scary team. The 14 points may have been too much. Could have been, should have been. But honestly, it wasn't. If Louisville is where Louisville is supposed to be, we'll get to that here in a second. But James Madison's a team that can be annoying. It has 8 wins. I think they went 8-3 last year. They constantly had a winning record since they went to D1. Chaney's kind of runs that kind of Satterfield, lower mid-level, offense. The one who runs the ball and kind of grinds you out and go over top with you when you're not paying attention. You saw that a lot tonight with James Madison. They did in Louisville, but Louisville got away with a win. But I mean, if you break it down and look at it just from the start, the game in a nutshell is defined by almost like it was the first play of the game where James Madison's, I think, when their first offensive play, when they were in the trick play, Louisville completely lucky that they overthrew the pass. And that was just a missed opportunity, a phrase you'd hear throughout the game if you're watching on TV, and probably, obviously, something you noticed yourself that was what James Madison's game was missed opportunities, and Louisville just kind of got lucky in a Satterfield win type of way where we get just points off 2 big plays and a defensive touchdown. Thankfully called that, got lucky. Too bad I didn't bet on it. And I don't know. I just don't know how much positive there is to come from a victory in this way for Louisville. I mean, obviously, to play positive, the defense looked good. This is a I love Ron English week, but it was also against a team that Louisville should be defensively better against. And really, if James Madison stays with one quarterback, whether it be Barnett or Sluka throughout the game, I don't know if Louisville contains them to 14 points, or what could have been 21 if they'd scored there at the end very late. I mean, it was kind of clear to anybody as day, almost like you're playing, on easy level on college football, that when Barnett comes in there, they were going to throw the ball. Louisville took advantage of it. They teed off on it, rightfully so, which led to the strip sack and the touchdown that, ultimately been one of the go-ahead score. And when Sluka was in there, you knew they were going to run the ball. And Sluka was in there running the ball. I mean, the guy had, I think, 60 yards or so rushing, I think. 7 running, 83 yards, 4 yards a carry. I mean, honestly, when he was in there, I was having like flashback nightmares to Will Levis and shit. Like I went through all the bananas away in my kitchen. It was just kind of like, but then they'd go back to Barnett, and Louisville was just like, thanks, I guess. You really need to be throwing us a bone. We're Louisville. We should be the one doing the vice versa here. But nonetheless, I'll take it. And Louisville's going to take it. And Louisville's going to take a win and move on. But this is a game where if you're Louisville and you are a Louisville fan who, like me and like pretty much most of us here on this podcast, even Roman, he went 8-3, I think, with the lowest prediction, not being the only one here. It's going to be weird because I got a lot of sugar right now. I talked too much to let it go out. Shit happens in that right, Forrest. So, but if you're Louisville, you can't listen. You can't have this kind of struggles with James Madison, especially particularly in depth breakdown at the line of scrimmage. I mean, Louisville was offensive line looked bad, and we've talked about this. Will's brought it up in struggles on here alone that they did not look good. And somebody takes and said Moss is garbage. I don't really, my jury is still out on Moss, honestly. The offensive line they blitzed nonstop, but even when they didn't, they were still able to get pressure on the Cardinals when they tried to keep Moss in the pocket. With Moss in this offensive line, and they brought it up in the broadcast as well, that if anybody had noticed and watched Moss yet, that he is a less accurate quarterback and a less effective quarterback when he has to be on the move. And yet now here we have an offensive line that you got to kind of keep him on the move to keep him on his back, keep him off his back. I mean, it's kind of like a weird verse from the Alanis Morissette song, isn't it ironic? Which in the case that, most of the things she expressed weren't ironic, which was the ironic part. That's what it kind of feels like. We've got this quarterback who has to stay in the pocket, yet we have an offensive line who can't keep a pocket. And you shouldn't be worrying about that this much after just James Madison. Again, no disrespect to James Madison. James Madison is a fine, smaller level school and is going to challenge. And to have a kind of struggle game with a James Madison level team is fine if you're a 7-win team. If you're, maybe a borderline 8-win team, that's fine. You can have a struggle game with James Madison, be happy you got a way to win and move on, and so on and so forth. Louisville's not supposed to be that team. Louisville's not supposed to be, the team that is going to get. Louisville's supposed to, at least I thought or hoped, maybe more than thought, and others that maybe watch this team maybe more that also agreed, either thought or hoped, that Louisville would be a team that's challenging for the ACC championship, a team that is going to challenge and compete into, maybe not compete, but at least attend the college football playoff. If that's the case, you shouldn't have these problems that you had against James Madison, with especially particularly the offensive line, and even on defense. You can't. And I'm not. It is clearly obvious. One person says Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois in week 2 last year. Actually positive. Yeah, Notre Dame's a kind of weird one, though. I mean, Notre Dame's, they always find a way to somehow fall ass backwards into success. I mean, it's Notre Dame. I mean, I don't know if it's a Catholic thing or what. I mean, but that is Notre Dame. That's so good for them. I do have a big remember that loss. Northern Illinois. I always think of Northern Illinois. I think of Michael the Burner Turner. Anyway, I don't even know what the references is to. I met him. His hands. Texas says I met him. His hands are small like Rutherford. Rutherford's hands aren't that small. I don't think so, unless you're talking about someone. Unless you're not assuming that Mike Rutherford. Well, maybe he has small hands. Unless he's talking about Moss. Moss, and he might. That was the. I think the small arms was Brian Brom's rap going into the draft. and we'll draft these small arms. He's like T-Rex out there. And Phil says, I take Plummer over Moss right now. Guys, you don't need to take a dump all over Miller Moss just right now. I'm not saying he's excusable from maybe a light peeing, but don't take a dump on him. I mean, there's reasons for concern, and the problem with concern is I kind of I pointed this out in our podcast on Monday. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but like when you saw Brady Allen play against EKU, he looked like shit. And it made you kind of think, obviously, the grass clearly maybe isn't greener on that other side type thing. And that's so with Moss, it's something maybe has to be worked out and finished out. But if you're Louisville, a week off right now could not come at a better time. Bowling Green sucks. Louisville should not struggle with Bowling Green. I know I'm complaining that Louisville struggled this week with James Madison. There was obviously struggles and some of the same struggles that we had against EKU, the penalties, even though one of the holdings I remember was kind of questionable. But the penalties, obviously another issue that need to be fixed. But the O-line issue, and Louisville should be able to, God help me, still at least go hat on a hat against a team like Bowling Green and get more victories than they did against James Madison. The fact they couldn't do that against James Madison is a glaring problem with this team going forward. And it's something that the coach staff is clearly going to have to scheme around. I think last year you saw Louisville like to go deep with passes. Now your bigger plays are going to have to probably be more your quick slants like we saw with Chris Bell and taking it to the house for, 78 yards or whatever, 68 yards, or 95% of it was obviously on the catch after the run, right after catch. So, yeah, I mean, you're just going to – and listen, and Brawl might trust with that in offense. Defensively, obviously, some injuries are going to be an issue. Braum did not seem very positive about Clark's injury. That did not look good. That's going to have to be addressed. And right now, for at least right now, we can be. I love Ron English week. I mean, obviously, that mood changes like the old analogy of women changing her mind. That's how it's going to be. It's going to go back and forth. It always will. But. But the fact is that it is, at least I love you, Ron English week this week. So I'll take it. Give me a hug, Ron English. No, Mr. Rutherford, I did not clean. If you want I don't want to give you a full tour of the house, but I did not clean. No. And I will say this, if you are watching, this will be the last day of the long hair. I am getting it cut. The beard just shaves because I'm lazy. I don't like to shave it like once a week. So that happens in itself. But the long hair will be gone. I'm going to get it chopped off tomorrow. I contemplating just shaving my head. If Louisville lost, I possibly might have done that. But I think, we need a fresh season. It's time for a fresh fade. So I'm going to get the hair cut off. So if you are watching, you are seeing the last of the long hair because I doubt I'll ever let it get this long again. It drives me nuts. I can't. I can eat my hair, and so the fat guy, I can't have another option of eating something that's just not going to work. I digress. Louisville. See, this is what happens when you barely beat James Madison. You get me on a tyrant talking about anything else. Honestly, I'd rather sit here and talk about how much I love the new season of King of the Hill than talk about how Louisville just scraped by James Madison. Even in a game that we knew, again, I reiterate, James Madison was a team that we had concerns for, and rightfully so. But with a 14-point spread, you should have at least expected a little more, and Louisville should. And if you're a Louisville team, again, that is expecting to be in a contention race seat, if you're thinking of a 7-win, maybe 8-win team, this was fine. Get by it. Move on. But I have more concerns about Pittsburgh now than I ever did even going into the EKU game, and that's not a good thing because that bothered me going into that game and this season. I have more concerns going into that game now than they're tripled. And hopefully Bowling Green will be a blowout and maybe we give some mirage of beer glasses, short-term glasses that everything has been fixed. And I can't do that because, listen, Louisville dominated in a way, even in the line of scrimmage in most cases, against an EKU. And Bowling Green's probably not much more above an EKU, to be honest with you. They're right in that level, right above bottom of the top division and right above the best of the lower division. And Louisville should dominate. Should hopefully not have to rely on just short, rely on a couple big plays and a defensive touchdown to win a game. I mean, poor Isaac Brown. Listen, Isaac Brown needs a small hole to get it through there. He's not Shelton. He's not Eric Shelton. He's not going to be pounding it through there, right, and making the holes himself. You got to give him a little bit of Gale Sayers light, and you do that, and look, bam, boom, he's gone. It's all he needed, and he'll put you to sleep. But Louisville's got to be able to do that. And I guess you can credit James Madison to a degree if you want. You want to play that, but honestly, I put the more of the blame on Louisville. Mike, no more hair talk. Okay, no more hair talk, buddy. Sean says, finally, wanted to listen to someone about this game. How y'all going? I'm fine. Listen. Do I have concerns? Of course, but in the end, I got the win. Like these things can be fixed. Hopefully, knock on wood. These can be fixed. You can. In Braum, I trust. There's a reason why I put my trust in Braum, almost blindly, like morons put it into televangelists. I trust in Braum that much that he's going to make the fix and adjust to take advantage and make this team as good as it can be with the talent we have and the holes and work around the holes that we have, because there are holes. There are holes, unfortunately. Bowling Green obviously lost to Penn State and Texas A&M by 1 score last week. Okay, well, Jesus Christ, man. You bring me down. I thought Bowling Green sucked last year. They were horrible last year. No way Bowling Green took advantage of the transfer portal on that way. Is she not looking at like lacrosse or something? Penn State blew out somebody else last week. It wasn't by 1 point. They didn't cover, but it wasn't by 1 point. Texas A&M, who cares? They're just too busy wearing overalls and chanting at people. Maybe Bowling Green is better than I give them credit for, but it shouldn't matter. With Louisville's coming off this bye week going home, I wonder how the crowd will be. I expect a decent crowd, hopefully, but nonetheless, I could see it being let down. So I'm not going to go all night. I'm not going to go an hour. I'm not going to go that much longer. Any more? If you want to comment, question, I'm always open to listen to. But listen, I don't know how to do it without beating the dead horse by saying that Louisville is thankful for a win. Louisville needs to figure out how to adjust this offense in a way that you can Mike, you can suck it. I don't think you've read one of these texts correctly. Probably not. I have not read one correctly. I'm in the chat right now on the stream. I don't know anything else. My computer can't even connect to Twitter. My fucking computer is so out of date that it won't even let me connect to Twitter, which is why I had to go through Roman's account. It says that I don't have the proper iOS system, and I can't download the iOS system. I spent hours, my friend, trying to figure out how to download this damn iOS system. And, wasted more time than, not my time, because I had plenty of time to waste, but like a normal person's time, I wasted way too much trying to figure this shit out. I never did. So, I don't know. I'm just going to get to the Geek Squad or something. And Mike be hating. Mike is a hater. He's just, you know what? When you take 2 out of 3 against the Reds, he be hating. Just get over it. And not to mention, I came here last time the Eagles beat the Lions beat the Eagles. By the way, go Birds on that win. Spit on us. Spit on you. Man, you got me rolling here. You want me to talk about King of the Hill instead, Mike? I loved it. Great. I was pleasantly surprised. I give it an 8. The Burger King by the stadium is gone. No shit. That's sad news. The Burger King by the stadium. I've got so many good memories of that Burger King. I'm not like actual memories, but people that told me I did there. Like that's sad. I was a staple. John Downs brought me down on that one. Phil says, my man Phil Bailey, my easy lover. Moss stares down these receivers, not good. That's something he's been tagged with. It shouldn't be a problem against James Madison. James Madison just the fact that Louisville couldn't get a run game going, and then Harvey's is still there. Good, thank God. There is hope in life. Humanity will move on now because Arby's is still there. I don't know what else to say that I haven't said once before, other than Mike making fun of me and now learning that apparently Burger King is gone. Arby's is still there. And that I don't need to talk about my hair. And I don't mean to rhyme, but I did. This is why I usually have co-hosts. This is what I do. You take call-ins, Clayton? I don't think I can. If I could, I would. But I don't think I'm able to. In fact, as I said, my computer, I can't figure out how to get the damn thing to connect to Twitter or X or whatever else it's called. It won't let me. It's telling me my iOS system is too down. I'm amazed the webcam. I'll be honest with you. I'm honestly amazed the webcam works on here. I mean, let's not look the gift horse in the mouth, okay? Let's be positive. I don't even know if my mic's working. For all I know, you're just watching me like move my mouth around, and I'm not even hearing a word I'm saying, which is probably a better show than if you were here listening to me. Oh, man. This is what happens when Louisville doesn't dominate, and I get to like just, glorify myself. Or you get excited on the mic. Are you liking the Packers-Lions game? Packers. I like Packers. Sorry, Mike. Maiden. No, but I do like the Packers in the game. I do. I like the Packers this year. I think I've said it before. This is what happens when Louisville squeaks by James Madison. I start talking NFL on a Louisville post-game show. But I do think I think Parsons has a Mac-like impact, like he did that first year with the Bears. The Packers win the division, and their defense has a very good year. If you haven't done fantasy drafts, well, then I don't know how you are, but Packers was a defense that was probably left out there. Get them late now. Lions, I think, will have a good season. But I think Packers win the division. Lions will come in second. It doesn't matter. Neither are beating Eagles, so they can go fuck themselves. Or whatever. I'm just almost not cussing because I'm on radio. I can cuss now. I can smoke, too, if I want. Oh, man. What are we? I mean, we feared after EKU, that, and that's speaking Louisville football, that this could have been a scary game. But we kind of tried to talk ourselves out of it, right? We tried to say, we took the starters out in the first half. We could still name our own score. We had 41 points. We were okay. We were going to be okay. James Madison, yeah, we played him. We've already beaten them once. Satterfield beat them, for God's sakes, right? Hey, yeah. We shouldn't be too worried. The spread, is at 14.5, and it's gone down. But we're going to be okay. It's a Friday night. We'll be pumped. Blah blah blah. Came out looking soft, flimsy, like Liberace at a Playboy concert. I mean, it just did not look good from the start, and we just kind of slept through it. And thankfully, James Madison didn't take advantage of those things. I was very satisfied with the defense. John Downs, were you satisfied with the defense tonight? I read that verbatim, Mike, bitch. I was satisfied. I was satisfied that they kept the team in the game, but I thought if James Madison, I meant Playboy Mansion, douche. If James Madison had stuck with one quarterback, I fear this game might have turned out differently. Again, when they put Barnett in there, poor guy. I mean, they were teeing up on him. I mean, you knew they were going to throw the ball. It wasn't very much well-kept secret, And when Sluka was in, they threw 5 pass attempts. The last one being the bomb that was in the double coverage. They had no prayer anyway, and he threw a couple bubble screens, but you knew they were going to run the ball, and yet they were still semi-effective doing that. And I don't know. Sluka, I know, is not maybe the best quarterback in terms of passing, but oh God, he can't be that bad that you have to just anytime you're going to pass the ball, you're just going to put Barnett in there. And if you keep one of those guys in there for the full game, and what's the analogy? If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. I don't know. I don't know if Louisville's defense holds them to 14 points. I don't think they do. Now I'm saying Louisville maybe doesn't win the game still, but if I think it's a lot, I think it's even closer than it was, and that's not. It was too close for comfort to begin with. In anybody's case, unless you hate Louisville. So listen, I actually kind of like the Cheney coach there. I know he took over there after the guy went to IU, and this is his second year there. and he did a good job. I guess what was it, Liberty or what? Not Liberty, but one, Holy Cross, one of the religious schools that doesn't pay taxes probably, and it's what and they run that kind of system like you would see you expect from Satterfield. They kind of they run, and but Louisville shouldn't have that much problems with them. It is a concern. Clayton Hodge, cheers to that. Wanted to ask, we crammed Isaac in the middle of the game. We had a huge run. When we go outside, why? So I'm going to put this on here just so Mike will be like, he didn't read it verbatim. Cheers to that. Wanted to ask, we crammed Isaac in the middle all game. He had a huge run when we go outside run. Why did they tried? They tried to do it a few times. And they credit James Madison. They were on it. Unfortunately, Louisville's offensive line is just you're going to have to find ways of kind of scheming into the run. I mean, or at least hope that when you do just kind of go hat on a hat with them or go 6 on 5 or whatever, when you keep a tight end in, you just got to hope he finds that crease and hits it. Because once he does that, he's gone. I mean, like I said, he's our little Gale Sayers. You can give him 5 seconds of daylight and he's peace out. But yet, but Louisville's offense is not going to do that. He's not going to make the hole himself. You saw that with Duke Watson a few times, and where he's kind of shuttle his feet because there's no hole there, and he's not able to just kind of create that own hole. And with Moss, same thing. Every time he's in the pocket, I mean, you've got to be able to find a way to roll him out. But he just, as they pointed out in the broadcast, if you watched it, and you were there, which isn't obvious. He's just not as good a passer out of the pocket. And when he's on the motion, he's not as good a passer. And that's a problem for us because guess what? Louisville's offensive line is not that great. And, they're probably going to have to find ways. I don't know, not to sound like John Link, your dude and We Are Marshall, run the veer or something, but they've got to find ways of keeping him kind of in motion and bootlegging it. And if it's just maybe keeping it to short passes and, thankfully guys like Chris Bell and Colin Lacey are guys that can make the RAC. I mean, they're going to there's guys that can make a good catch and make the play after catch, as you saw with Bell on the slant route, which, I mean, he just hit that and hit the gas and was boom. Unfortunately, wasn't able. Moss was 13 of 23. It's not. I know it's not great, and there was concerns of accuracy, and even against EKU, even though the excuses were given to him or the pass or whatever you want to say, no pun intended, was given to him for the interceptions because of, one was a tipped ball and one was a kicked up ball, whatever. The problems are still there. Yeah, I love live TV. I couldn't do this on the radio. They made me go outside and smoke. Fascists. Mike, what does it mean for the defense if Saquon is done for the year? I have no idea, buddy. I'm not Keith. I don't have that kind of breakdown. I know it is a concern because obviously he is a middle linebacker, and Quinn is. If you thought Quinn was going to be able to play as much as they're going to maybe need Quinn to play, he would have already done it by now as a redshirt sophomore, I think so. In today's football, at least. So I would ask Keith that question, or go check out Card Chronicle for the in-depth on that one. Or maybe wait for Will to come back on Monday. But obviously it's a concern because, if anything, you just don't want anybody to get hurt. And it didn't look good. And Jeff Robinson made it sound like it didn't look good in the post game. I'm gonna put these on here just so I can just show Mike I'm reading them verbatim. Clayton says, "I hope it's just an ankle." Mike, let us know it's more. Yeah, go to Mike on that one. Not to send listeners somewhere else. Let's see here, Jared. They brought us Barnett on what was kind of pivotal 4th and 3. I didn't understand it. They had been getting 3 yards easy with Sluka all night. Yeah, I didn't. If I'm a James Madison fan, I mean, I don't know, how diehard James Madison fans are out there. I mean, like the Van Buren boys, giving up the 4 for the presidential, gang sign. But I'm pissed because James Madison, in a way, they should have probably won this game. I mean, I guess as he pointed out, why they brought the switching in and out is just, I've never been a fan of it. I'm never going to be a fan of it. It's one of those things that I can be stubborn. Mike knows, anybody knows me knows that. On occasion, I try to be open-minded, but I can be stubborn. And when it comes to playing 2 quarterbacks, you're never going to change my mind on it. I'm not going to do it. It is a stupid thing to do in my eyes. Maisie Lubberfield, Travis, it's Trevor, but that's okay. That doesn't bother me as much as it used to. That bothered me when I was a kid because there was a kid that was in my class and it was named Travis. Growing up, no, I didn't know many Trevors. When I was growing up, like people would always fuck up my name. They'd be like Travor, Travior. And there was a Travis in my class, and he just annoyed the shit out of me. He's a redneck kid. He just pissed me off to no end. Big UK fan. And so anytime I got called Travis, it would offend me. I don't care now. But thank you. Now I lost the damn. Where is it? The thing. Just go Louisville tonight. We're not just that good. Let's see here, Clayton. We'll put it up here so I can prove to Mike. I saw a draft scout out Bell as his number 2 receiver in his class. I think he's good, but is he that good? The main thing about Ben, listen, I don't how many times I've been wrong about if a guy was going to be a good NFL player or not is beyond infinity. But Bell's got that like proto size at 6'2", does look like he's got the speed. He kind of had a George Pickens couple more moments tonight than I'd like to see. When you want to compare him to maybe an NFL receiver with some of the drops, reaching out, trying to catch with his arms out instead of bringing it in. And they kind of resulted in a drop, one of those plays where Moss, it wasn't the best throw. Granted, you can make the excuse for Bell more if you want to be pro Bell and anti Moss, but it was probably one he should have maybe caught. But that, and honestly, I said this to myself because literally no one else is around me except for my dogs, which are laying over here sleeping right now, ignoring me. I'll call Khaleesi over later if anybody really wants. But Colin Lacey, I think, isn't. I mean, it's hard to say because, I mean, you look at the numbers tonight, obviously weren't great for Colin Lacey. The reverse was nothing. He got nothing out of it. He had 2 catches for 12 yards. But he just looked like a guy that I could feel like can make an NFL roster. Now, impactful in an NFL roster, I don't know. But he just looks like a guy that I could feel like could make an NFL roster and does have at least the size like Chris Bell does, even though Bell is bigger. They can do it. So I'd like to see him make it. Then again, I thought Tutu would be a little more better in the pros. And when he gets a chance more in the Rams, he probably would, to be honest with you. But he never does. Down, shotgun handoff on 4th and 1, trash call. Yeah, that's NCAA football 26 shit, dude. That's playing video game. That's what you do. That's what you do on video games. You don't do it in real life. I don't ever understand it, and probably never will understand it. Phil tells me later on it's a White Castle time. If you don't tell it to me and not drop off some chicken rings and cheese sticks, man. I mean, come on. Even though I did go to White Castle the other night and I was very disappointed. I feel like they poured salt all over my White Castles. I almost didn't eat them. I mean, it really took everything in my power to get all 6 of them down. Can I bum a square? Yeah, if you like, go ahead, man. Travis Clayton. Want to know if you can bum a square? I love the phrasing. Little right-handed cigarette. It is right-handed, I might add. Could have used. Trust me, tonight is a night where you will want probably both right and left-handed cigarettes, and maybe some other, libations to help you get through it. But we got through it. We made it. Your Louisville is still 2-0. The corrections can be hopefully made, and while I'm not 100% positive about going to Pittsburgh, I am positive about Bowling Green. I don't know what the line will be. I know a texture, caller, chatter, whatever they called on this here. Said a minute earlier on here that Bowling Green did apparently not look as shitty as I'm playing them out to be in week 1 or week 0, whenever they've already played. I'll have to look it back up, but I know they were shitty last year. The MAC in general was very shitty, and from the most part last year. It was not a great year for the MAC. But with the transfer portal, who knows? I mean, for all I know, they brought in like some 5-star kid that got kicked out of Auburn for stealing a laptop or something. I don't know. So I will look at it, but maybe by Monday I'll be more informed, but I doubt it. For those that did stay through me, I appreciate it, love it. Listen, just like a Louisville fan, Clayton, yes, only left-handed ones. That's off screen, buddy. No, that's never no. Say no, unless you're in one of like majority of states, and it doesn't matter anymore. But Kentucky, almost there. If you stuck with me this long, you're probably a diehard Louisville fan because you stuck with the Cards this long. Well, I'll go off on this note. Mr. TK, well, TK, why are we door dashing? What are we door dashing tonight? Send me your money app and I'll tip you for the postcape. That's very generous of you. Well, you don't have to worry about that. Hold on to that for me like a bank, and not door dashing tonight because I already picked up Chinese food and I have not eaten it yet because I got it right before kickoff and I wanted to wait until after the game. So I am about to go into the kitchen and warm me up some bourbon chicken and fried rice. I got 2 egg rolls, some onions in there, and I'm going to feast like Isaac Brown on a 78-yard run. So until hopefully Monday night when we come back real spiel, I'll be my man Roman Kelly. He's out doing, I don't know what he's doing. Who knows what the youth kids do today? He's, I don't know, at the sock hop or watching MTV or whatever. And of course, my man Will, who's at the wedding of what I told him was if you ever ask him and see him, will he be apparently boring his bachelor party ever? In a bachelor and bachelorette combo party. I mean, seriously, dude, what the fuck? But hopefully the wedding will rock. They got to win tonight. And KJ's out. He's stressing the Charger game. So hopefully they'll be back with me Monday, and I'll be back as well, and we can talk more about this game, get their thoughts on it. Well, hopefully maybe I'll different mindset at that point. But until then, everyone have a good night. Friday night. It's not 2 a.m. yet, so you still have time to go out and do shit before it's a bad idea.